What I mean by that is that we're aiming for, obviously, wherever you are in the periodization, you know, if you're in the southern hemisphere, obviously you're working towards the summer now, and you're probably in like our springtime and getting ready for big races, you know, in that hemisphere. But in our hemisphere, it's obviously like recovery, and then into the autumn, then into the winter, depending on what you're doing. You know, it's like, I'm a big believer in, you know, the individual has got individual needs. And I think Canova, which is a big influence, and I'll try and read a lot more on his philosophies, which are interspersed with obviously Lydiard's and, you know, a lot of other great coaches as well. It's like, you've got to find what you're good at, your fundamentals, he calls it. So if you're fundamentally great in so many areas, then you can move on to, you know, I think they call it a special block. So the key is make sure that your fundamentals are as optimized as possible. And that might mean flexibility, strength, endurance building, aerobic capacity building, you know, anaerobic development, strength, you know, all them aspects. If we can get them as efficient and as good as we can, that's the first priority. Then what we're aiming then to do is to, if we're competent in them areas, then we can then start exploring a little bit. So what I'd say is that if you're great in these fundamental areas, and there's 7 tick sheets of fundamentals, you know, what I've just discussed, if you've got all ticks in them boxes, then you know that you're in a good position. So what we're working on is that if there's 5 of them fundamentals, say you're lacking endurance or aerobic, you know, capacity, you start working on that. If you're not very strong, you work on the strength conditioning stuff. If you're not very mobile or flexible, you work on the flexibility. If your nutrition's not great. So 5 of them might be brilliant. So we just keep them in your locker. They're good. Then we work on the next 2 fundamentals. Then after them 7 fundamentals are in place, then we can start thinking about the journey of understanding how to use all them fundamentals to get you to the goal that you want to get to. And it's a matter of, for me, it's like we're exploring. We've got to then explore and find out. And I'm always saying this, is like trial and error with a little t and a little e. It's like, we want to trial it and we want to make errors, but we don't want to make big errors, and we don't want to make big trials. In other words, we don't want to be extreme. We want to push in a capacity that gets us out of our comfort zone so that we can adapt. So I'd say my tip is work on the fundamentals and add. Don't consider that them 5 fundamentals are going to carry you through. Try and get as competent in all them areas first. And then when you're getting into the areas of what training works for you, be personalized in your choice, because we're all unique individuals, and try and use that to go forward as a storyboard to work from. So consistency of doing that and monotony has got to be embraced in certain points. For us, especially at this part of the year, it's like everything's slowed down, everything's building an aerobic base, and then maybe going on to maybe develop a bit of aerobic power and other aspects of our, you know, of our special training, I'd say, not specific yet. So that's what I'd say is like, start concentrating on them areas, and then when it gets boring and monotonous, change things a little bit. Change the stimulus, make things happy and fun, and enjoy the journey. We all look out the window. I mean, today it's rained all day. It's like, just get out there. You'll feel good. It's like, focus on something that is good. You know, it's like, we can't control the environment. We can control our own environment in some capacity, weather, conditions. It's like, we can't get there without committing. And, you know, that's one of the pillars of mental fitness, commitment. It's like, commitment's the first one, then control, concentration, and then consistency. And obviously, you know, confidence comes with all that interchange. So that's the tip I'd give, is like, find your unique, but make it fun and enjoy the journey.
Tony.